Hey, good morning, everybody. What's going on? This is Average Discussion. Thank you for joining me today on March 22nd, Friday, March 22nd, 2024. It's about 40 degrees here just outside the Salt Lake City area. Nice, clear skies. Looks like it's going to be a good day, but we got some bad weather moving in for the weekend and heading towards early next week. Thank you for joining me here in Studio F350. Just another day for me. Historical records for the archaeological finds in 10,000 years. Regular gasoline is at $3.45 a gallon. Diesel still remaining at $3.89 a gallon here at the super secret Squirrel gas station parking lot that I record at. Okay, so what do we got today? Well, I don't know. I really need to get to work, but I'm also not looking forward to today's festivities. We're supposed to have a meeting with the company that's doing all the work for us, taking all the work from us. They're supposed to announce today the detrimental crisis of jobs. So I'm a little I need to get there, but I'm really not in a rush. And I don't really want to deal with it today. I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I'm not necessarily nervous because I know it's coming. I just really don't want to deal with the headache of it all and the stress of it all, because I am part of the management team. I'm on the chopping block as well, but I feel a certain kind of way about everybody else. You know what I mean? I really feel for them, and I don't like the way things are being handled. And to be honest with you, I've actually been really, I don't want to say mad at myself because it has nothing to do with me, but I hate the fact that I'm even remotely a part of it. And it sucks, man. It sucks because I do genuinely care about people and their lives. And I hate the idea that their lives are about to be uprooted, even if it is momentarily. You know what I mean? I think most of them are going to have no issue finding other employment, but it's a stressor that they shouldn't have to endure, and it shouldn't have been hidden from them. And I feel a certain kind of way about that. So I'm not necessarily concerned, right, as much as I don't want to deal with the stress of it. And that's where we're at. So what do we got today? Well, obviously the normal intro stuff, okay? Average discussion. What do I do here? I'm an average guy. I talk about average things. I generally start off with news topics to get the conversation flowing. I try to avoid politics because I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. However, we live in a very political world, so I would be remiss to say that it'll never come up. Of course it'll come up. I just try to avoid focusing on it and putting all my attention onto that, right? So that's what I do here, and then I usually get into some final thoughts stuff where I just kind of talk about some random stuff, usually conspiracy related stuff or what ifs, because that's also what I'm really interested in, what ifs, and I don't claim to be an expert on any one thing. I have a lot of experiences. I cite a lot of articles to give a basis for it, and then I kind of go into elaborate on what my perspective or my opinion of that is. I don't claim to be a guru. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a historian. Okay, I read a lot, but for whatever reason, I can't seem to read when it's time to read these notes. Okay, so I mispronounce a lot of words. I mix a lot of things up. It happens. I do try to find it and correct myself, but I don't always do that till after I've already submitted it or published it for release. So that is what it is. I talked about yesterday how March Madness was going to kick off. So here we go. March Madness, the first games of the actual bracket tournament, minus the first four, were yesterday. All right, so we got a big one here. Number 14 Oakland beats number 3 Kentucky 80-76. When I tell you that I am absolutely shocked by this, I'm absolutely shocked by this. However, I did see a video clip. I must have missed it in the game because we weren't watching it at that time or whatever, where the Kentucky players got a rebound off of a free throw and then just chucked it out of bounds because they weren't paying attention. So I guess in the grand scheme of it, their head wasn't in the game. On my bracket, I didn't pick Oakland, okay, because I thought it was Oakland as in Oakland, California. And I was like, nah, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I probably wouldn't have picked them anyways. But I do like the upset factors. I don't know. It's the American way, right? Like, we root for the underdogs because we want the top dogs to fall. So I don't know that I would have picked them knowing that they weren't in Oakland, California. But hey, either way, it is what it is. So number 14 knocks off number 3 Kentucky with a huge upset. Kansas hangs on to beat Samford, number 13 Samford. But they barely did that. And arguably, I would say that Samford kind of got screwed. They had a very clean block that was called a foul. Very clean. But I get the bang-bang situation of it. It easily could have gone either way just by visually seeing it, because the ref's trying to chase them down. These kids are fast, right? But it was a clean block. They got called a foul. Kansas goes up from the free throws. That block could have put them at a tie ball game, because Samford would have had numbers running down the court, because the kid, the guy fell to the ground and everything. Like, literally, it looked like he smacked his face, if I'm being honest. But they would have had numbers, and they could have probably got back into the game and tied it up right there in the last few seconds of the game. It could have been dramatically different, but that killed all the momentum, and Kansas hangs on to win it, 93-89. Did not watch this game. Gonzaga beats McNeese. Number 5 Gonzaga beats number 12 McNeese, 86-65. Duquesne, I don't know. Beats number 11 Duquesne beats number 6 BYU, 71-67. BYU is the school here in Utah where my son's former high school basketball coach is now a part of the coaching staff. Mixed emotions on what we wanted for them. No, I'm just kidding. We did want success for them. They had a good season, but an upset there as well. So 71-67. Number 11 Oregon beats number 6 South Carolina, 87-73. North Carolina State beats number 11 North Carolina State beats number 6 Texas Tech, 80-67. That was not one that I saw coming. North Carolina State really, really wanted it. I can't remember the kid's name for the life of me right now. White kid, plays forward. Come on. I don't know. Him and number 30, though. I think his number's 30. DJ something. I don't know. Them two kids are good, man. Like, they're good. It was pretty cool to watch. Not gonna lie. So I think they might be. I didn't pick them to win. But they might be my rooting. That might be who I root for, because it was a good game. It was fun watching that game. Actually, it was really good. They got a lot of energy. So good luck to them. So let's see. Wagner loses to number 16 Wagner loses to number 1 North Carolina. North Carolina wins that 90-62. Not even close. Number 2 Arizona beats number 15 Long Beach State, 85-65. Number 2 Iowa State beats number 15 South Dakota State, 82-65. Number 2 Tennessee beats my favorite from, I think it was last year, St. Peter's. Number 15 St. Peter's with a whomping 83-49. St. Peter's was a big Cinderella story from last year, and I couldn't bank. I think it was last year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was last year. Maybe it was 2 years ago. Time flies when you're having fun, right? But they were a huge Cinderella story, I guess you could call it, right? And I just did not see that happening again. I definitely did not pick them. And yeah, 83-49. Number 3 Creighton beats number 14 Akron, 77-60. Number 3 Illinois beats number 14 Morehead State, 85-69. Number 7 Dayton beats number 10 Nevada, 63-10. Number 7 Texas beats Colorado State, ranked at number 10, 56-44. Number 7 Washington State beats number 10 Drake, 66-61. And Michigan State, number 9, beats number 8 Mississippi State, 69-51. All right, so those are that's a recap for yesterday's games. All right, so if you took my advice and you started a bracket with your family, friends, whatever it was, co-workers, whatever you want to do, there's your updates. If you didn't get them last night, we were up all night until the last game played, updating ours. Crazy day. I didn't watch much during the day. I had some stuff going on at home, and I was, a little tied up with some things, but We did watch them in the evening. Some pretty good games, guys. Lots of chaos. All right, so this is kind of a follow-up article. You may remember, if you listen to my show, that you may remember that I was talking about it was the Not on My Watch episode, where President Biden was going to initiate some legislation or something like that to stop a Chinese EV car manufacturer from basically flooding the market here in America with affordable electric cars. And he was doing so based on the idea of protecting the citizens, because they're super concerned about the amount of information, data that is going to be going back to China. You know, that's the typical 2020 spiel, right? Like, it's been happening forever now, it feels like, where it's all about the data going back to China, right? And during that episode, I made an argument. That it had nothing to do with the safety of our data, but everything to do with keeping his automaker lobbyist happy, right? That was the article that I made. So let's read this here. It says, why a small China-made EV has global auto execs and politicians on edge. China-built BYD Seagull, a small all-electric hatchback, starts at just 69,800 yen, or less than $10,000, and reportedly banks a profit for Chinese automaker. It's not the EV itself that's making waves, but its price and its potential to disrupt domestic auto industries around the world. There's fear among global automakers that Chinese rivals like the Warren Buffett-backed BYD could flood their markets, undercutting domestic production and vehicle prices to the detriment of their own auto industries. The introduction of cheap Chinese autos, which are so inexpensive because they are backed by the power and funding of the Chinese government, to the American market could end up being an extinction-level event for the U.S. auto sector. The Alliance for American Manufacturing, a U.S. manufacturing advocacy group, said in their report last month. BYD sold 1.57 million battery EVs last year, up from just 130,970 all-electric vehicles in 2020. Yeah. The sales growth was enough to surpass Tesla to become the world's largest producer of electric vehicles in late 2023. So this is what I was saying about that legislation. I didn't feel, when that came out, I did not feel that it was about that at all, because it highlighted how inexpensive they were becoming. And that's what I knew. I knew it. I knew that was the point, because American car companies pride themselves in quality, right? At least that's what they preach. And they say that that's the reason for the prices of their vehicles, right? At least that's kind of what gets put out. I'm sure that's not the entirety of it, but that's kind of what gets put out, right? And it's like, they're so much better because they're built better, we're built to last, and this and that, right? But they cannot compete with affordable prices. And they're not willing to take a hit on that. And maybe that's a flaw on my perspective, okay? Like, that's very real. Maybe I'm not giving American car manufacturers enough credit. Okay, but here's all I know about cars. I've had domestic cars, I've had foreign cars, and they've all been about the damn same. I've had random issues here and there, but nothing out of the ordinary. They've all been about the same. I get about the same lifespan out of them. I wouldn't say that the comfort's any different. Some of them are easier to work on than others, but most of that's attributed to the year. So I personally have not experienced, out of all the vehicles that I've owned, I personally have not experienced any drastic difference that would make me say that I refuse to buy a foreign-made car. That's all I'm saying, right? And so it didn't shock me, because I knew that's what it was about. I knew it was because American auto manufacturers have made their empires off of their perspective to the American people, and they charge more money because of that. But you could argue that the cars that they're making now are just as much junk. So, hey, whatever, but it's about protecting the auto industry, friends, not the American public. And that's what makes me upset. They use the fear of, quote, stealing data, just like phrases such as, for your safety or national security. They use those things to grab our attention and put us in this fear mind, because the real reason that they want to stop this is because they don't want to be out-competed, so they want to legislate it to make sure that they're not out-competed. Now, if that doesn't sound shady, guys, I don't know what does. And you can make your arguments about the quality all you want. The bottom line is that they try to institute legislation because they're afraid of being out-competed. Now, I guess you could also make the argument like, well, yeah, we should keep America, right? To what extent, though? To what extent? Because we can't do that if the same administration is pushing us in another direction, right? The electric vehicle direction. But then our only option is overpriced electric cars because they want to legislate to keep the competition out, to keep them safe. Like, come on. Like, whether you agree with it or not, it's being pushed on us, right? I mean, you don't have to agree with the EV future to agree that it's being pushed on us, right? And it's going to happen. We all feel it. We all know it. Is it going to last? That's the question, right? But we all feel it. We all know it, that it's coming. It's here, and they're pushing it even harder every single day, right? So let's assume that this just becomes the thing, right? Like, because I remember, when cell phones started getting big, there was a lot of people that didn't want you to have cell phones. Now look around. You got 90-year-old women and men operating cell phones. And they were the first ones to tell you that they had the mark of the beast and you were going to be going to hell and right? Now they're all playing casino games and stuff. So my point being is that this is what's being pushed on us. And the fact that they're legislating, keeping that affordable for the people to protect their buddies, I think that's a problem. I'm sorry. We say these things like free market and competition is what creates free market and this and that. But then when it comes to it, the threat of going under, oh, no, we can't have that. But if you open up a business in your small town, ain't nobody going to be legislating to keep your business open, are they? No. And yes, I get it. Those industries create a bunch of jobs. I got it. That cannot be our reason every single time for keeping them safe. It cannot be, especially if they're going to continue to exploit the American people financially. It just can't be, in my opinion. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Smaller families? Well, global fertility rates to plunge in decades ahead, new report says. The global fertility rate, the average number of children born to a woman in her lifetime, fell from 4.84, which that's interesting, in 1950 to 2.23 in 2021, and it will continue to drop to 1.59 by 2100, according to a new study. Probably because people are tired of living in a world of chaos. It's stressful. It's expensive. It's crazy. I think more and more people are just enjoying living life as well. I think that plays a factor. Like, there's more people that are interested in getting out and doing things. And that's hard to do with a big family. You know what I mean? It's not impossible, but it's hard to do, And so I think more and more people are buying into that, and they don't want to have 5 kids. One's fine with them. Maybe 2, right? I can tell you right now, I got 3 and I feel like that's more than enough. Trust me. So, I don't know, but really, I think it's because we live in a world of chaos. Like, who is thinking about that kind of stuff right now? In fact, I would argue that the only time that you're going to have increased childbirth rates is when, 1, things are safe, going well, and 2, there's nothing else to distract you. You see the pictures, those older pictures, the black and white pictures of the lady with the 10 kids and the one guy, and they're just living in some rickety shack in the plains somewhere. There was nothing else to do, guys, and you needed extra hands. I don't know, but anyways, that's that on the fertility stuff. So nearly half of the tap water in the U.S. is contaminated with forever chemicals, government study finds. Now, a long while ago, I did a whole spiel about the studies that were revealing that rainwater, pretty much worldwide, were basically contaminated with these forever chemicals, and it was not safe to drink, is what they were saying. So now it's your tap water too, guys. It probably has been for several decades, but whatever. Almost half of the tap water in the United States is contaminated with chemicals known as forever chemicals, according to a study from U.S. Geological Survey. The number of people drinking contaminated water may be even higher than what the study found. However, because the researchers weren't able to test for all these polyfluorinated alkyl substances, or PFAS, chemicals that are considered dangerous to human health, there are more than 12,000 types of PFAS, according to the National Institute of Health. But this study looked only at 32 of the compounds. PFAS are a family of ubiquitous synthetic chemicals that linger in the environment and the human body. PFAS exposure is linked to a problem such as cancer, obesity, thyroid disease, high cholesterol, decreased fertility, interesting, liver damage, and hormone suppression, according to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. That's interesting, all those things. Obesity, we always blame that on McDonald's, but I bet you this study was funded by fast food. They want you to think you're fat because of tap water, not their burgers. Decreased fertility, that's interesting. Maybe that's the reason for the fertility rates. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it's the tap water and people just can't have kids. I don't know. In June 2022, based on the latest science, the EPA issued health advisories that said chemicals are much more hazardous to human health than scientists originally thought, and are probably more dangerous even at levels thousands of times lower than previously believed. Health effects from the chemicals can be difficult to specify, in part because people may be exposed in different ways and at different stages of development, and because there are so many types of PFAS chemicals, which with types and uses that have changed over time. And then that some of the other parts in that article, the areas with the largest traces of them. Ironic, obviously, urban areas where manufacturing is big and everything going into the waterway, so thank you, capitalistic and legislative people who have put progress ahead of safety, and then have the nerve to turn around and, I don't know, take away your rights and my rights in the name of safety, and then turn around also and blame us for being the contributing factor for the situations that we're in now with all these chemicals and carbon dioxide and all this stuff. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to all of you. Yeah. I don't know. I got a lot I could say on that, but I am running out of time here. So, Wally. That was the first thing that came to my mind when I read this article. The part where he's just scrounging up, just cubing up all the old junk. It says electric waste has grown to record levels. Here's why that's a huge problem. From old cell phones to broken refrigerators and discarded e-cigarettes, global electronic waste has reached record highs and is growing 5 times faster than rates of recycling, bringing a host of health problems, environmental and climate change problems, according to a new analysis. The numbers are staggering. In 2022, the world generated 62 million metric tons of electric waste, also known as e-waste, according to the United Nations Global E-Waste Monitor released on Wednesday. To put that in perspective, this waste could fill up more than 1.5 million 40 metric ton trucks, which if placed bumper to bumper, could form a line long enough to wrap around the equator. E-waste is the umbrella term for any discarded product that has a plug or battery and often contains toxic, dangerous substances such as mercury and lead. Manufacturers have to be dragged, kicking and screaming to make products that last, said some person from the article, and not just design products for the dump, hoping they can sell us a new one as soon as possible. That's a huge problem, right? And I think I've referenced it several times. Like, it absolutely drives me crazy that we have a new model of everything every single year. Every single year. you know. But many of us will hold on to the same cell phone for several years, you know. It's just strange to me. It's just strange to me. Cars, like, I know there's people out there that go and switch out their cars every year and stuff like that. But I don't really know them personally. Like, everybody I know's had the same car for pretty much the whole time I've known them. Or, you know, they'll every like 3 to 5 years or something like that, but not every year. And we constantly have just new models of the same shit, same crap. You know what I mean? Nothing changes but the stereo screen. That's why I didn't trade in my Subaru, because one, it had low miles, it's cheap, I can afford it. But when I looked at the newer model years, the only upgrade was the was the stereo, and I was just like, yeah, no, I'm good. But yeah, no, like, that is a thing. I don't know. Keep going on the article here. Manufacturers need clear plans for the removal, collection, and recycling of toxic and hazardous parts of their products, said this person. As well as being an environmental problem, e-waste is also a climate problem. Yeah, here we go. Electronic devices require raw materials, including rare earth metals, that are extracted and processed in a highly energy-intensive process, mainly powered by fossil fuels. As demand ramps up and people are persuaded to replace devices more often, the climate impact is growing. Which that's probably true. But also, like, I don't know the process of recycling those things. It did say that we said, you know, like 100 million metric tons roughly by recycling. So clearly it's effective. I just don't know the process or length of time that it takes to do so. So is that happening at a rate that can compete with the piles of it building up? You know what I mean? I think that's probably the biggest problem in my mind, because we do recycle stuff, but clearly not at a suitable rate. And I think that's what this article was trying to say, is that, like, we need to shift our attention to improving the infrastructure in that regard so that it's more impactful, and it'll have a ripple effect of positive effects, right? Which, that's a fair argument to make. I don't have any issues with that. You know what I mean? I think if anybody does have an issue with that, then they really need to go stand in a mirror and reevaluate themselves, because there's nothing wrong with being better about things. You know what I mean? And that's such a unimpactful part of our life. It's really not that difficult, you know. And you can make whatever argument you want about, like, things being burned and stuff still, right? Like, I get all that, but the point of it is that there's no point in just tossing the stuff out if we can reuse it. Like, it really doesn't make sense to me why people try to fight that. There's the logistical parts of it and the money side of it. I'm not here to argue that. I'm talking about the actual plan of action, right? I don't know, but it was interesting though, because I almost put this article in here, and again, it was one of those things where it's like, I probably should have, knowing what I talked about now, right? But it was regarding clean, fresh water, right? And it was talking about how, it expressed like half the world doesn't have access to clean water and this and that and running toilets and all that good shit, right? But the article was geared around warning the use of technology to assist in fixing the problem, right? And it was referring to, like, AI and things like that, generating ideas to solve the problems and this and that. And their argument was that those systems, those technological systems, require so much cooling water that it's actually, it's using the water, and we just need to focus on fixing the water. And I really felt like that was a yoga stretch, because, again, I've talked about it in other episodes. I think that the ruling elite are really kind of nervous about AI. They're definitely going to figure out how to use it and manipulate it, and manipulate us with it. But I think they're also slightly nervous about what it could do for, the future, and how it relates to public opinion about them, right? And so I just thought that was a weird thing to say. If your argument is that you need to fix this water problem throughout the world, and you have a system that could literally help you in that, probably quicker than finding college graduate kids who can help you in it, right? And that's not to say that those kids can't help. I'm just saying, like, if the AI can do it quicker, then why wouldn't you utilize that? That doesn't make any sense to me. And so, I don't know. I feel the way that I feel about it. I think it's going to be an interesting thing. I don't want to say great. I think it's going to have moments of greatness and a lot of bad things. I think it's like social media, honestly. Like, social media is great in a lot of ways, but it's also very detrimental in a lot of ways. And I think AI is going to be the exact same thing. So, I don't know. That's where I'm at on that. So, we're going to get into the final thoughts here, since I'm already kind of on final thought stuff, right? This is where I really get into the what ifs. All right. This is just my final thoughts, my brain, where it's at. And I was thinking about the maybe you guys have seen it, maybe you guys haven't, but apparently the National Guard, I believe it was overran down there in Texas, I believe. I could be wrong about the location. They were overran by migrants. They just started running, and I don't know. But there's a choke point, a channel point in the razor wire, and there's like 4 or 5 dudes in fatigues, right? And what looked to me to be like an interpreter. And there's about, I don't know, a crowd of like maybe 30 to 50 people, maybe, is what it looked like to me. All men, from what I could tell. And you've got these 4 to 5 guard members trying to keep them from coming through the choke point. And then dudes just start running. They start running, and I'm like, oh snap. This is for real. Like, they're just running into the country. But then they come up to a big solid steel fence, and there's another guy behind the fence with the gate closed, telling them that they got to turn around and go away. And that's where I started kind of questioning it, right? Because, like, what if it's staged or intentional? Now, hear me out. What if all this chaos we're seeing down there is staged to present an image? What if it's intentional at the same time, though? Is this a trial run to verify problems and procedures because they're expecting it on a much larger level, maybe in the near future, right? Because we do that thing, and we call them war games. We practice, right? And then what's the benefit to being in conflict for the last 50 years? We're well trained. We've got a lot of our tactics and procedures down, right? And the only reason I say that, because it's no secret that the world is in chaos. But the video just looked weird to me. It looked very opportunistic. You know what I mean? Like, all men, a few guard guys, and then the dudes just start running like they're being chased by zombies. You know what I mean? And they come up to this fence and they're banging on the fence like, let me in! Ah! Like somebody's behind them with a flamethrower. And that's really weird to me. Like, if you're coming to this country, right? If you're coming to this country, why would you run to the fence? Especially if there's other ways of getting there, right? Like, why would you intentionally run to where the guards are? You know what I'm saying? You're trying to sneak into this country. Why would you intentionally run there? Right? And that's the part where I start to think, like, maybe this is staged. That doesn't make any sense to me. It looked extremely under control, even though it was supposed to be chaotic. Because like I said, the one guy was behind it and he had his little peeking hole slot that he's talking through, right? I don't know. Just weird. They're giving us the image of this chaos being overrun. But none of that makes sense. None of that made sense in that video to me. Maybe there's more to the video and I need to see the whole thing more than just a little snippet clip of it. That could be very true. Okay. Like, I'm not denying that, but the part that I saw, which was just them running through the choke point in the concertina wire, or past the 4 or 5 guardsmen and what I believe is an interpreter, running up to a solid steel fence, banging on it like let me in. And then another guy on the other side, like, sorry for your luck, Paco, but time to go back. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense, dude. It's super strange. And it's all men. It's all men, and that's an image that they want to sell us, right? Like, it's fighting age men coming into our country, blah, 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 which is probably true. I'm not saying that that's not true. All I'm saying is in this video, it looked staged. It looked staged for political purpose, in my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm not saying that illegal immigration is not a problem. I'm not saying that it's not something that is actually happening. And I'm not even saying that there isn't active military-aged fighting men trying to get into this country. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is that video looked extremely staged to me. Or allowed, at a minimum, at least allowed to happen. So, I don't know. Because it should have turned out a lot uglier. Like, there should have been shots fired. Like, if things go down that big, if you're tasked out with securing something and people start breaking the perimeter, hey, if you've been in the military, you tell me, what are we supposed to do? Right? And I get it. This is peacekeeping. So, the rules of engagement are slightly different. But if your job is, I've never had to do this, so I'm just assuming, okay? If your job is protect this entrance, what are you supposed to do when they break through? So, I don't know. It's just strange to me. Very opportunistic, in my opinion. It just really looked funny to me. I'd be interested to know what you guys think. Take a look at the video. Maybe I missed something. Let me know what you guys think. You know, do you think that there's a possibility it could be staged? Or at a minimum intentional? And I'm not talking intentional on a legislative side of it, right? Where, like, the Democrats want them all to be here so they can vote for them. I'm not talking intentional in that regards. I'm talking about the situation being set up to be intentional for publicity reasons. That's what I'm referring to, okay? I'm not trying to get into the legislative side of it and the political side of it in terms of, you know, oh, these people want it to happen, these people don't. I'm just saying in that specific issue, or in that specific incident, what do you think? And you can let me know. You can let me know over on Facebook, facebook.com/average discussion. On Instagram, average discussion. On Threads, you guessed it. Yep, that's right. Average discussion. Yeah. You can follow me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at AVG Discussion. You like the show, don't like the show, complaints, gripes, comments, death threats, whatever it is, averagediscussion@gmail.com. You can email me directly, averagediscussion@gmail.com. It's all one word. All right. Definitely send your death threats there. I don't want them to get lost in the social media hiatuses that I take. I don't even know if that was the right word, but I used it anyways. youtube.com, channel's Average Discussion. Head over there, subscribe. I need 50 of you at a minimum. 50. I think I need like 25 more at this point. So I want to do this live. I want you guys to see my face. I want you to see me struggle to read. Yeah. The show's on speaker. The show is on Spreaker, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and probably a bunch of places I've never even heard of. That's where you can find it. And again, youtube.com. The channel is Average Discussion. Okay? Yeah. Head over there. Give me a like. Give me a subscribe. Give me a follow. Comment on some stuff, for crying out loud. The Facebook page and the Instagram page are probably where I'm the most active. So if you want to see me, I'm fairly active on X too. You know, I like bright lights and, you know, techno music. Wrong X. I'm pretty active on formerly known as Twitter, X. So, you know, it's pretty easy to get in touch with me. So please do so. Comment on some stuff. Like it, share it. Let your friends know. Let your enemies know. Let your pastor know. I don't care. Just let somebody know, for crying out loud. All right, let's get this thing out there. Let's get it spread. Let's create the go juice. The go juice. All right, well, I guess I've beat around the bush long enough. I should probably suck this up and go deal with today's drama of the day. I'm really not looking forward to it. But I'm sure you guys are looking forward to hear about it on the next episode, right? Right? Yeah. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting day. So anyways, hey guys, as always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I truly do. I hope it's a great day for you and you're able to enjoy life and achieve the things that you want to achieve. As always, please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. And until next time, I'm out.